All right, guys. Am I running late enough for you guys? We are 40 minutes late starting, but we are here. We are live action. I'm Dr. Andre Pinesett, and today we're talking about what it takes to truly be successful as a student. And my son, he's 10. He cracked the code yesterday. He was a perfect example of how you can do this. And so for many students, it's often thought that we have to study hard, or we have to have some new hack, some new gimmick, so forth, that's going to put us over the hump. But I'm here to tell you that there's so much power and you have so much untapped potential if you just reformulate what you do and you go through the practice of becoming a great student. So by the end of this session, I guarantee you're going to understand just how powerful focusing in, being an active participant in your education, and effective time management can be in changing your game, guys. I've worked with students for over 20 years. I am so excited to work with students and to share with you guys my expertise in working with students for so long and getting to the nuts and bolts of it. Because I feel like there's a lot of people out here and they talk about things kind of generally, but they haven't been in the trenches working with students, and I've been doing that. And so I'm always excited to bring to you guys what it's all about and help you guys get ahead. And it all starts with the mindset, it all starts with the execution. We're gonna talk about that today. So I'm gonna hit the intro. Utham, what's up? Nick, what is up? Thank you guys for hanging out here and waiting and not closing the window, as Utham just said, as we get on here. It's been a crazy week. I lost my phone this week. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening. But we're going to be live action right now. We're going to get at it. So let's hit the intro and let's get right to it. And as always, we're live. And I'm here to serve you guys. So if you guys have questions, put your questions in the box. I'll make sure we answer them at the end of this session so we can all get informed, right? We can always what? Be more positive, be more productive in our lives. So let's hit the intro and we'll get right to it.
Today is the day, guys. You're going to take your future into your own hands. You're going to dominate. You're going to be successful. No excuses, just dominate.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And like I said, today we're talking about time management and the power of it. And my 10-year-old was a perfect example yesterday we'll get to. But this video is about understanding that time management is not something you just implement. Time management and being a great student is something that takes practice and is developed. And by putting in time management effectively and by executing it and trying to do it, not always being perfect, but by trying to be consistent in it, you actually reshape who you are as a student in terms of your thought processes, in terms of your actions and your outcomes, and it will entirely change not just your grades, but your life and who you are as a person. It's so, so powerful. And there was a recent study, the reason I'm bringing this up, it's actually all things come together, is there was a recent study that I was reading last week that just came out, and it was in a journal of psychology, and I put the link in the description below so you guys can read that and check that out. But they talked to over 1,000 students, did this research, and they had really nice kind of protocols to assess them and survey them and see how they performed. And they took these 1,000 college students and they looked at their behaviors and their actions and what actually helped their grades and what hurt their grades. And I'll ask this question as I continue to teach. But one of the key contributors, it was a significant finding. It had a significant impairment factor, negative factor on student performance and student grades. What would you say the number one most significant factor they found in the study was that negatively impacted student performance? While you guys answer and talk about that, I'm going to tell you about the positive part of it, and that they found that students, and listen to the key words here, practiced consistent time management, right? Not always being on cue, but practice consistent time management showed higher study engagement and motivation and grade outcomes. Now, this is significant because as we talk about here so often, we're always looking at the outcome, but even before the outcome comes, there's a feeling, there's a perspective, there's a change in who you are and your confidence in achieving that outcome. How many of you guys dread and you're unsure about, am I making the right things? Am I on track to be successful? You're not sure about it. Well, when you get the right things in place, you start to feel different. You can feel the progress happening and there's confidence in that. And so these students who practice it consistently, and we'll talk about consistency, we're going to define that. Because too often people think consistency is I'm always doing the right thing. I'm always on it every single day. And as someone who believes in the huge power of consistency and the leverage of consistency, because it allows someone like me who isn't naturally gifted academically to perform at a superhuman level, that consistency, because it requires no talent, consistency isn't about always doing right. It is about attempting to do right all the time and executing most of the time. So in a 7-day work week, I might have the aspiration to say, I'm going to study 2 hours every single day, every day for 7 days. And out of those 7 days, I may not study those 2 hours every single one of those days, but the majority of those days I've gotten my 2 hours in. The majority of the days. And then in the aggregate, over a month or over 2 months, it's an even higher percentage of days. So we're going to have some days where we don't execute, but we stick with it. And in the aggregate, in the total, we are so high level, we are so consistent on the bulk of days that it doesn't matter that some days we don't step up to ourselves. We don't do what we need to do for ourselves. And that's the power of consistency, is that it doesn't require us to be perfect. And a lot of times when we learn these hacks or these tips and these tricks and so forth, it requires us to execute at a superhuman level, to have some sort of gifted IQ and all this stuff. That's not what I teach, because I teach to students who are disadvantaged, who are learning disabled, who are neurodivergent, who are different. And so we can't approach things the way a naturally gifted person would. And if you're naturally gifted and you apply what I teach, you'll be off the charts. But any student can succeed with the power of consistency. And so as these students practiced time management, what does that mean? Well, a lot of people think time management is something you implement and execute, right? You get an app and you're like, oh my gosh, I got this app. It's amazing. It's a time management hack. And I just put this app in and the AI is going to tell me what to do and when to do it. And it's much like what's happening in AI and studying right now. I've been on a bunch of conference calls with medical schools are having trouble with it. Colleges are having trouble with it. But a lot of students are skipping some of the key components of education, which is being able to take complex information, process it, think about it critically, and make it their own. And by shortcutting that process, you're losing the learning of learning, the practice of studying, right? You're losing that aspect. So you're not developing the skill set you need to be successful independently in the long run. And it's the same way when it comes to time management. When you use all these apps and different things, you've got an app taking over your life. And now you become passenger to your own life. And so you aren't being active in the practice of developing the thought process, of developing the practice, the actions, of taking those actions and making them habitual and living your life on purpose and being a key driver of your life to say, no, I want to do the right things and not the wrong things. I want to be consistent. It's the practice of it, right? It's like when you go bowling and you get the bumpers up. A lot of you guys are out here time managing with the bumpers on. Well, that's cool and everything, but if you want to be PGA Tour ready with the wrist guard and everything, you got to be able to hit a strike with no bumpers. And you guys aren't ready for that and aren't equipped for that. So I encourage you guys, as though with this practice of time management, it's about taking the bumpers off, knowing you're going to hit a bunch of gutter balls. But through all those attempts to look at your schedule, to look at the time you have available in the day, and to actively manage it, you're going to develop the skill to be able to do what is productive, what is right, and what's going to get you ahead. Does that make sense to everybody? It's that practice of it. And what's cool about this study is they took it a layer deeper and they looked at the fact that the time management worked not only because they were managing their time better, but it changed their perception of their ability to effectively control their outcomes. And so it was a perception that I have more self-control. I can get myself to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And for many of you guys as students, how many of you guys suffer from that, right? Where you feel like, oh, I'm just lacking motivation today. I know I got to do this stuff. I'm not motivated. And it's this whole obsession with motivation. I have quite a few videos talking about this, so I'll link a couple in the description after this, and maybe I'll link one up here in the video, whatever. But chasing motivation is the wrong way to approach school. Why? Because motivation is temporary. It is fleeting. It is affected. It can blow away in the wind. And what we need to focus on is developing the right mindset, right? That's why I tell everyone they should start with my Successful Student 3-Day Mindset Makeover course, because we have to have the right mindset, the right mentality, the right perspective, the right beliefs about ourselves and about our academic potential and about what it takes to be successful. Because if we can change that framework, we change our fundamental thought process and our theory and how we view the world and view ourselves, it changes the actions, right? So a thought, reap an action, reap an action, reap a habit, and so forth down the road, right? But it starts with that thought process. So the mindset is so important. So what we want to do is cultivate a productive, functional, consistent mindset, and then we don't have to worry about motivation. The motivation is intrinsic in that. And so this is what's so important about this self-control, and we talk about the internal locus of control, right? It's made famous by Carol Dweck and her growth mindset, but this is really what we're talking about, is as a student, how can you be more confident in your ability to create the results you want? How can you be more confident in your ability to grow? Well, you have to have practiced, you've had to have worked on things actively to be able to see your individual manifested progress, right? If someone else does an assignment for you, you don't have confidence that you can do that assignment. If someone else or some app is managing your time management, you won't develop confidence in your ability to control and regulate yourself and your behaviors. And so therefore, how could you ever be that in control person? We have to practice and work on it and rehearse it. And then we have confidence, like, you know what? I can tell myself, I can force myself to study when I need to study. Yes? I can be confident that when my phone rings, I'm not going to answer it. I'm not going to be distracted by social media. I'm not going to be distracted by my friends. I'm going to be able to focus in and get this done. Yes? And so the important parts of this study, and this is what I want to emphasize to you guys today, is it's not necessarily just about managing the minutes. And so having an app or having someone else manage your time, that's not it, right? A lot of students, they make themselves super busy. They put all this stuff on their calendar, all the things, so that way they're forced to do things in these blocks, but that's not a recipe for success. It's about managing not the minutes, but your mind. We've got to make that shift of say, how am I in control of what I do at all times? Yes? So by doing that, right, what's cool here is that when you get this confidence in your self-control, you then now feel like you're in the driver's seat of your life and you start actively engaging in making decisions in your life. For so many students, I run this all the time. People are like, oh, well, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. How many of you guys feel like, oh, I have to do that? You feel obligated to do all these things when you recognize they're not serving you, they're hurting you. Well, once we realize that we're in control and we believe in our control and our ability to make the right choices to be successful, we can then acknowledge that we don't have to do something, that we're choosing to do that. And that we can then choose to do something differently. And when we are aware, right, I always say awareness evokes effective action. We have to have awareness first before we can actually take the action. If we are not even aware of the choices and the tiny decisions we're making each and every day, then how can we possibly make the right choice and the right decision if we didn't even know there was a decision to be made? Oh, I have to stay up late. Oh, I have to go to lecture when it's a waste of my time. Oh, I have to. No. We get to choose what we do. And it's through those choices, guys, that we craft who we are as a student and who we are as a person in life. And so this is why this time management is a small thing that manifests in a bigger thing in all your life and will change all of your life. I'm so effective and my life is so amazing because I recognize that at every single moment I have a choice. There's always a fork in the road and I have to choose the choice that serves me and my purpose. Right? I was on here running late from work, stuck in crazy traffic, right? It's like it's foggy out right now, right? In Southern California, so people don't know how to drive, so it's crazy traffic. And so it took me way longer to get home than I thought it was. I'm on here 40 minutes late to start this live stream. And I could have said, you know what? Let's bun it. Let's cancel the live stream. I said, you know what? My purpose is to serve students. So I'm here and I'm doing it and we're live action. And I appreciate you guys for showing up and waiting for me, right? I appreciate y'all, right? If you were on here and you're enjoying this so far, like the video, comment, let me know we're here. I'm not alone talking to myself in the room. We talk about the time management. We practice that. From the time management comes self-control aspect. We have a confidence in our self-control. And this is what's so powerful. We talk about the lack of motivation, right? We're not excited to study. Well, they found that these students reported higher study engagement. And as you guys, if you've been across my videos, you know I always say, if you want to be a better student, you have to find ways to be more engaged, more excited with your education. Because an excited brain, right? An engaged brain where you're really moving through the material and fondling that material, as I like to say, that's how you create incredible learning and you create a fun environment. But we have to get engaged. And so what these researchers found was increased time management practice, increased confidence and self-control. And for a lot of students, the reason we're not excited to study is because we don't feel like it's going to make a difference. Oh, it doesn't matter if I study hard. It doesn't matter. I'm just not that kind of student. It doesn't matter. And we get all this anxiety about our outcome. But if we can create more confidence in our ability to control our outcomes, then what does that make studying? It makes it more exciting. And for me, guys, I can tell you, even to this day, I love studying and learning new things because I'm confident that I can do it, that I can create. My work will result in something positive for me. That's why I love reading studies and staying up to date on stuff, because every single time I'm excited, I know I can break a book down. Come on, book ain't got nothing on me. I love coming and meeting with students because I know I'm going to be able to change their life. It's the confidence factor I have that I've built through the practice of working with students and through the practice of learning. So I used to sit down and study. I would love it. I'd be so excited to sit down. I used to love to sit down. Why? Because I knew when I put this time in, guys, this is creating the future. This is creating opportunities so that my children can have an amazing, amazing life. And so I was excited and I was engaged. So by taking this time management seriously and practicing and fumbling and failing, but progressing and improving, you get confidence in yourself to be able to control yourself. Say, I'm in control of me. And by having control in me and controlling my outcomes, I can then be more confident that what I'm doing matters and that my studying is going to be effective. And so then I'm more excited to sit down and more engaged. And that's where the powerful, amplified, supercharged learning takes off and will change your academic career. Right? Just can't get enough of it. I used to like love to sit down, like, ooh, oh, it's my study time. Yay, it's my time, it's my moment to shine, baby. And then test day was always, it was the payoff. Right? It's like payday on Friday. Come get that check, baby. It's time to get paid. Worked all week. That's what it was. And what's interesting is where my study excitement came from was that I was like, I'm building this life for my children. I want them to have all these great opportunities. I want them to see themselves as incredible. And I said to myself, all the things that I learned late in life as a student, right? Because I was a student who didn't believe in myself. I was a student who didn't perform well. I was a student who wasn't efficient. I was a student who almost failed out of college, right? That was me. I couldn't let myself fall out of college. I had nowhere to fall back to. I had to leap forward. And so I had to step up, fix my mindset, fix my methods, right? And then fix my outcomes. And I did that process. And then from that, I then translated that and I started working with students, right? And I had my own tutoring company. And then it spawned off and all this. And 20 years later, here we are on a live stream on YouTube where I get to travel around, be a professional speaker, work with students in my coaching right after this. We're going to be late, obviously, for coaching, guys. I apologize for that. But we will have coaching tonight, but it'll be a little bit late because we're late on this live stream. But I get to do all this stuff, and it was all manifested way back when. And so what was cool about this was I just had to work with students, but I was also excited to say, listen, my students won't be the anxious student, the self-doubt filled student that I was for so long in my career. They're going to have confidence instilled in them. They're going to have a growth mindset. They're going to have a skill set that allows them to be successful and be efficient and not be drowning in material, not be able to barely read like I did, where I really struggled with reading. It was an embarrassment of reading. I was the world's slowest reader. They're going to be supercharged students. And so what's funny was you read about this study the week before, and then life always brings me these little things. I'm like, man, you better share this message with these students. But I was focused, right, as I do with my students. I harp and I harp and I preach and I preach and I set up frameworks. And I'm trying to mold them, craft them, trying to brainwash them, right? Bring them into my cult of greatness. With my children, I do the same thing. I have 2 kids. And from birth, guys, my wife and I have been focused on building these opportunities for them. Mindset, right? Of you got to have the right mindset, and then building in these functional habits for them, and then helping them build their skills and challenging them and pushing them to be their best selves. And my son is 10 and he's in the 5th grade. And what's awesome is we've been doing this for years and years and years and years and years. And then we've been working with him, doing all these things. And my house is very regimented, very routinized, right? I always tell my students, the routine is the route, right? It's the way to get to success. Have a routine. And so in my house, my kids know the backpacks have designated areas. We have backpack hooks. My kids have charts. They're for their chores. They have a chart for their daily things they have to do to get their day started. Brush their teeth, put their deodorant on, right? Get the clean socks. Like do all these things. They check it off, right? They then come and they can see what their homework schedule is. We've been doing all this stuff for forever, right? They have to pack their backpacks the night before. They have to make sure their stuff is in their homework folder. All of these things we've been practicing for forever. You fast forward now, my son's in 5th grade. And the other night he was doing his homework. He said, oh yeah, I'm finishing my homework, blah, blah, blah. And he goes to put away his stuff. And I'm, well, hey son, I haven't seen your math in a while. Let me see what you're doing with your math. Let me check your work. And he's like, Dad, no, I'm an independent learner. You don't need to check it. And I was like, oh snap. And it was one of those moments where I was like, I'm kind of offended that he doesn't want to show me what he's talking about. But I was so proud in that moment of my son because I was like, dang. That's what I've been looking for. That's what I've been molding and crafting in him is that he, right, through all these practices, all these frameworks, all the times where he's forgotten his homework at school, all the times where he was upset about having to hang up his backpack, all the times where something was mashed in the bottom of his backpack has led us to this moment where he won't let me check his homework because he's an independent learner. My 10-year-old says, no. I don't need no checking. I'm confident in my ability to learn and to execute academically. And I was like, yes, yes. He's developing, right? What those psychologists call this internal locus of control. His belief that he can be in charge and he can create his outcomes and he can manage his own homework. He's an independent learner, right? How many of you guys as adults, right? You guys know I work with college students, graduate school students, medical students, a lot of you guys on here. You guys are older, right? 20 plus. How many of you guys can say with confidence, I'm an independent learner? How many of you guys would be so bold to say to a learning expert, Get out of here. You don't have to check my stuff. I'm an independent learner. My 10-year-old said that to me. And I love that because that's the mindset that separates struggling students, students who underperform, from the students who maximize their potential, who thrive, who love school, and who reach the highest pinnacle of education. That's the separator, that confidence that I can handle anything that comes my way independently. And the cool thing about this is through this study and through life and work, there's been a bunch of studies that have shown this, is that I always say, people like to teach that IQ is inherent and that academic ability is inherent. And it is true that there is a genetic component to our ability, our natural brain. But the brain is indeed a machine that can be trained like we train AI. It's a machine that can be trained. And if we work with it, guys, we can truly push our brains to higher heights. We can push our beliefs, even if we come from a home where our parents don't believe in us. We come from a community where people don't go to college, right? I've had many students who told me they found me and my message resonated for them because they come from a place where it wasn't expected they would go to college, and not even unexpected. It was be outrageous if someone claimed they were going to college. And I've had students who tell me like, oh, when I told my family I was going to go to college or I was going to medical, I have a student. His parents, he told his dad he was going to go to medical school, and his dad scoffed at him because he comes from a small town. They're factory workers and the like. They're blue collar. And his dad scoffed at him like, you can't go to medical school. You're not smart enough for that. And now fast forward, he's already into, oh my gosh, 4th year of medical school. But it's that belief that people come to me and we instill it. And so this mindset we're talking about, these skills we're talking about, it's all teachable, guys. So if you get nothing else from this lecture, understand that this stuff is teachable, and more importantly, it's learnable. So whoever you are right now, whatever your belief system is right now, whatever your skill set is right now, recognize that you have the potential to level up. You can be better. I teach my students about my reading course, my primary reading course. I'm always like, I believe that every student needs to be a super reader, but any student can become that super reader, and where you're just able to break everything down. And so I want you guys to understand, this is why people are like, well, why do you offer courses and coaching? Because I know you guys need people to help you, right? Oh, and so Maureen says, I'm sorry, let me break for a second. Maureen says the link is not working. I will update that link. I apologize. I will update the link after we're live. We are live action. I apologize. I'll update that link. Okay. But people, it is teachable, it's learnable. And that's why I have my courses and my coaching, because I want people to have that experience, but it takes a lot of instruction. It takes a lot of detail, a lot of specifics on this is what you need to do. And it's not going to be the smoothest process. And you're going to feel fumbly with it because it's new and it's different. And so you need someone there to hold you accountable, who's going to pull you along, give you the support you need. And that's why I offer those. So you guys get to my website, premedproductivity.com, get into a coaching program, get into a course, and level up and get that stuff going for yourself. So now, as I say that, and we talk about this is teachable and this is learnable, let's understand what are some simple things that you could start doing right now to level up and start building this mindset. Well, the first thing is, guys, is that you have to truly sit down and assess your past performance. And for many of you guys, it's like this past performance paralysis, where we make the incorrect assumption, as so many people do, like in gambling or in sports, where, oh, you know what, if I made 10 shots in a row, there's a good shot that I'm going to make an 11th shot in a row, when actually it's the opposite, right? They're independent events. And I want you to understand that your academic career is an independent event. So your past performance is the old you. I want you to look at what made that past performer inadequate, made them unsatisfactory for what your goals are. Identify the problems, and then take this moment, instead of being paralyzed and handicapped by your poor performance in the past, say, listen, that's the old me, and the old me did this, this, and this. And then identify the opposite, right? The mirror of what the new, more successful, highly capable version of you is going to do differently. Yes? So we're going to overcome our past failure and our past low performance, and we're going to cultivate and cultivate a belief that we're going to have new and better performance by finding things that we can actually tangibly change to be different and to be better. Because that's the real thing, right? If we want to change our outcomes, we got to change our actions. We want to change our actions, we got to change our thoughts. We got to find things we're actually going to do differently. And with that, the first thing I always recommend for students, right? So there's a couple things you can do, but this is going to go for most students. If you do these couple things, crazy. The very first thing is is it's so important that you focus on structuring your time and not the specifics of your to-do list. Hear me and hear me now. I teach to-do lists. I teach scheduling. But it's so important that we move from the to-do list to the schedule. And so many students fail to do this. They have these super long to-do lists, they're always growing, but none of these tasks, none of these items are assigned to an actual block of time. We have to focus on blocking out our time. And so, in terms of blocking out our time, the simplest way that we can convert our to-do list into a time block is I want you to look at your to-do list when you make it, find the most impactful activity you have on there. So yes, there's a lot of things on there on your to-do list. What is the most impactful, the most essential task on your to-do list? And I want you to put that and schedule it on your calendar for the first 2 hours of the day. Ignore the entire rest of the to-do list. Don't even schedule it. Take the most important high impact. I have a book report that's due in 3 days. Okay, fine. Block it off. The first 2 hours of the day, focus in on that task, on that activity, on that goal. Within those 2 hours, you don't have to study for 2 hours straight. Block it off based on your ability. At least 30 minutes, at most 2 hours. Block off the time, take a sufficient break. So I tell my students 2 to 1. However long you study, take half of that time for a break. So if you study for 30 minutes, 15-minute break. Study for an hour, 30-minute break. Forget that Pomodoro crap. It doesn't work in real life study. 2 to 1. Spend those 2 hours, get 2 hours of concentrated study time in to start your day. By doing this, guys, it's huge. One, it creates this accountability and it teaches you that this is the block, I must do this. But it's so awesome when you start your day like this because every day then becomes productive right from the start. And it's powerful because when you first wake up, you've just recharged the battery. You've been sleeping all night. So you have the most willpower you're going to have all day. You have the most focus you're going to have all day. You are not worn down by all the activities and the thought process of all day to where your cognitive capacity, your brain's capacity has been worn down. You are ready to go. You are a lit fuse, baby, ready to blow up on this assignment, right? That's what it is. And so you can leverage that full tank right when you wake up by getting to that first task that's very important right off the bat. Then once we do that, it's awesome because it frees you from the crippling anxiety of having something very important hanging over your day. How many of you guys, you go through your day and you feel a sense of dread, a sense of anguish, a sense of anxiety, a sense of stress because you know at the end of your day, you've got some major studying or some big project or some adversive, time-consuming, difficult, highly important task at the end of the day, right? How many of us, it's 8 o'clock, right? Like right now, like, oh my gosh, the evening, the sun just went down, it's gloomy outside, and now I got to do this crazy hard assignment. And the whole day you've been thinking about that assignment, and it's been knotting up your stomach, and you've been feeling terrible all day. Well, by putting this super important task in the first couple hours of your day, you knock it off, and so that way what? You don't have to think about it all day. Because you're like, I did that big thing. And then, I always teach my students, we front load and we roll downhill. So what's cool is, by getting this off of our thing, by getting the most important thing done, it gives us the confidence to say, you know what? Shoot, I knocked that out. I can do all these other things that are less important. And even if I don't get to them, they aren't the most important thing. I got that done already. So it takes all that stress and all that pressure that can be paralyzing off of us. And the third and final thing it does is it allows us, like I said, to work ahead, to front load, such that we are like, wait, I've already got the most important thing done. I'm rolling. I'm amazing. Gives us this great sense of accomplishment that creates this momentum that launches us into the rest of the day. We're walking, and I'm watching right now my son Spider-Man. Because, watch all the Marvel movies. I'm watching Spider-Man, and there's this scene where Tobey Maguire, right? He's Spider-Man, he got the Venom suit, and he's walking on the street, he's like, yeah. That's how you are. It's a weird reference, but that's how you are when you get that first initial productivity out the way. You go to the rest of the morning like, man, I'm walking on a cloud of air. You can't even see me, baby. I already got this studying done. It's so powerful, right? Am I the only one? Comment right now. If you guys, when you have a really productive morning, how does it change your feelings about yourself and your feelings about the day? For me, it's huge. When I used to study, I would get up 4 in the morning, get my hours in before the sun even came up. And it was so amazing. That sun come up, I would come up, I go get some breakfast, and my whole day, I was light on my toes, baby. I was floating on a cloud because I knew I'm a productive character. That's my identity, is that I'm productive, I got it done. So it changes the whole perspective for the day. It's amazing. The second thing it does is it really reduces friction. So when we go to study, the reason that we procrastinate, the reason that we aren't focused is that we have something that's causing friction to us. We want to roll forward and study, but there's something that's either pulling us back or holding us or hindering us or slowing us down from being our fullest, best student self. And so the second thing I want you guys to do after you schedule this early time is I want you to reduce the friction of that time. And we're going to do this in two key ways. The first way is we're going to make it so that our start is a frictionless start. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like how they do this, like a racing analogy, right? They do these, in racing, you don't start from a dead stop, like in these NASCAR thing, right? They do some warm-up laps, get the tires going, get some tread going, get the engines revving, and they start from a rolling start. It's a rolling start. And that's what we want to implement in our studying is we want to reduce friction by having a rolling start. And the way you do this as a student is, I want you the night before to set out the required materials for whatever you're going to be studying that next morning, the night before. So that way we get up, we don't have to say, oh, where's this book or what do I need? We've already got everything we need set out so we can literally roll out of bed, hit our face with some water, sit at our desk, and we got a rolling start into our studying. So we've reduced the startup friction of our study session. So there's no excuse. I need a pen. Everything's already set out, so I'm launching into my study session. I got a rolling start. The second way we're going to reduce the friction is we are going to remove our phone from the equation. So now early on, I hinted and I mentioned, I said, hey, there's one key thing that they found that negatively impacted student performance and student self-control. And you know what it was? It was the gosh darn phone. So mobile phone, cell phone dependency and utilization negatively correlated with student self-control and performance. And that makes total sense, right? Because our phones are designed to be a distraction. Social media, the algorithm, all these things, it's meant to pull us out of the real world and put us into a digital world. We're utilizing that. And it is so appealing. It's colorful and it's fun and it's vibrant and there's all this stuff. It's too strong of a pull, guys. It's too hard to overcome. And so when you go to study, I want you, don't put your phone on silent. Don't do a productivity app. I want you to turn your gosh darn phone off. And I want you to put it in a whole separate room or at least 10 feet away from you. If you're in the dorms, put it under your roommate's pillow. They'll be asleep. Put it underneath your pillow so that way you can't access it. And then I want you to sit there and I want you to go through your materials. Go through your materials and be focused and locked in. And Utham asks a good question here. And he says, let me pull this up onto the feed here. It says, regarding getting rid of the phone, what is your opinion on using internet-connected devices to study? Does that present a similar distraction? And the answer is it can. And this is the same argument against like, oh, should I have my laptop out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Have what you need to study. And again, we're practicing this time management. We're practicing this focus. So when you have your computer and it's connected to the Wi-Fi, that's a potential distraction. But you have to work to build the discipline and say, listen, I need the computer part of this to do my work. But I'm going to resist the urge to do social media, to do all those kind of things. And one of the ways you can facilitate that is by turning off notifications. So that way it's not social media coming to you. You would have to then go to social media. Does that make sense? So if you're on the Wi-Fi, it's fine. Maybe you are getting messages or whatever. But if the notifications are turned off, I would actually have to actively click into there. So we're going to give ourselves the opportunity. Yes, we could click in there, but we're going to force ourselves to actually have to do it. So we're going to put the phone away. We're going to have our computer if we need it. But if we don't need it, then don't have your computer out. Don't just have it out for fun. But if you need your computer, fine. It can be Wi-Fi connected, but we're going to turn off notifications so that way we're not getting buzzed. And you guys saw Apple, right? They have this cell phone mirroring right now so you can access your phone from your. Turn that crap off. Don't have your phone connect to your laptop. Keep it separate. Your computer's there to work. We're there to work. So we're going to focus. So does that make sense? We're reducing friction, two key ways, two simple ways. Rolling start. Night before, lay all our stuff out so we can roll right into our studying. And then when we go to study, cell phone is turned off and it's at least 10 feet away. And we are going to turn off all the notifications for our laptops. That way we can focus in and do our thing and get our work done. So we're going to minimize the distractors and the distractions that pull us and detract from our ability to study effectively and be focused. The third thing we're going to do, because we're going to try this, guys, you're going to roll this out. You're like, man, oh gosh, I'm trying to do this. It's new, it's different. And with anything we start new, we have to recognize and we have to expect we're going to have hiccups. We're going to have moments of failure. But failure is not final, and there's no true failure if you don't quit and you don't give up. And so what I want to tell you about this is as you go to implement this and execute this, don't put the pressure on yourself to be perfect. Expect yourself to mess up and screw it up and to be a problem. Because you've been a problem and you're trying to become the solution, right? Don't worry about that. Focus on not the perfection, on the consistency. And as we talked about already, what is consistency? It's not doing the right thing every day or every single time, but it's in the aggregate, saying most of the time we do the right thing. And over the longer and longer time, it's more and more consistent days. So push yourself to be consistent and not perfect. And as part of this, I want you to, we cannot progress if we do not assess. So I want you to assess and keep track. Every single day, at the end of the day, take a couple of minutes and just reflect on the day. Hey, was I a consistent student today? Did I show up for myself today? Did I meet expectations today? And some days you're going to meet it, celebrate that, enjoy that, write down the positive feelings you have about that, journal it. And then on days where you fell short and you weren't the student you wanted to be, talk about what kept you from being that student. Talk about what actions you're going to take so that tomorrow you can be the consistent student you want to be and how you're going to build this long-term consistency. And forgive yourself for having a screwed up day. And say, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to come back and I'm going to get it done. I'm going to be different tomorrow. And over time, what you'll see is these processes, this mindset, these behaviors are going to craft you into this incredible person, like it's done for my son, right? Because that thought process became these actions that he was doing and not really thinking about, right? He was like, oh yeah, I think I can do this stuff. And then I'm taking these actions, I'm being organized, I'm putting my backpack here, I'm putting my stuff away, oh yeah, I'm doing all this stuff. And then now it's the habit of it. He identifies as an independent learner. He comes right in the door, I don't have to beg him, comes to his homework, puts homework away, we're good to go. That's what you guys want. And eventually, over time, you guys are going to be that consistent, that high-level student who gets the grades. Yes? And these same principles, guys, that built up my 10-year-old, it works for everybody. And I always tell people, like my son comes to some of my events, and he's always sure, he's like, hey, it's the same stuff you say to me all the time, Dad. It's the same stuff you tell me, but these are adults. And I'm like, well, that's what it's about. It's not going to be complicated. Why make it complicated? You know what people do who don't know what they're talking about? They overcomplicate things. Right? So for our pre-med people, you go on rounds and the intern is listing off 50,000 conditions and the attending's like, can you just get to it? Like, why are you making this all like chasing zebras? Just tell me what's going on. And it's the same way in education, guys. I don't have to make things complicated because it's not complicated. It's difficult sometimes to execute, but it's not complicated. It's simple. Same thing I tell my 10-year-olds, I tell you guys. Consistency. Starts with the mindset. Then it comes with the methodology, then we turn into systems, and then we execute consistently. And then what's the end result, right? You become this successful student and you can predictably and reliably execute. That's it. Over and over and over again. And we elevate. And I do this, whether it's mindset, whether it's my study course, whether it's my MCAT course, my MCAT, it's just all about building this up so you guys can be incredible. And Mr. Yeast, you are welcome. Yeah, I'm glad you're liking this advice. I appreciate everybody who's on here with me right now. We are live action. I appreciate it. For my people who are in my study program, I know we are late. We will start already. We will start study coaching right after this, y'all. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, guys, I have my signature study coaching program, the 5 Pillars of Studying Less and Getting Better Grades. It's phenomenal, guys. You can get a free trial on my website right now. It's phenomenal. You get in there. I teach you all the methods. I teach you all about the mindset. And then you get live coaching with me every single week to make sure you're executing at the highest of levels. It's incredible. So make sure you guys check that out. Check out my programs. But this program, right? This Pre-Med Productivity Podcast, this Dr. Pinesett-ness in front of you. It's not me talking. I'm not here for my benefit. I'm here for students. I'm not here to gain influence and have followers, whatever. I'm here to impact people. I want to change lives. I want to empower people. And so with all these sessions, it's not just about hearing my voice and feeling better. It's about actually being better. So I want you guys, after every session, find your key takeaway and your key action step. So as soon as you get on these live streams, I want you guys to say, okay, what is Dr. Pinesett was spitting a lot of truth today. I really appreciate it. It's amazing advice. But ask yourself, well, how am I going to implement this in my life? And what is just one immediate action I can take to be what Dr. Pinesett was talking about, to be a slightly better student right now? And so what I want you guys to do for your action today is I want you to look at your to-do list and find your one most important thing, one most impactful thing for tomorrow. And I want you to block it on your schedule. And I want you to set out your materials for tomorrow. And then I want you to roll right into your studying tomorrow. I want you to execute the steps we talked about on this video tomorrow morning. I'm only asking for 2 hours tomorrow morning, execute. And if you say to me, well, Dr. Pinesett, tomorrow I got an early day, I got to be in class at 8. I don't care. Get up 2 hours earlier and get this done. And I promise you, I don't care if you get up at 1 in the morning, you will feel better about yourself and you will have a more productive day if you get yourself up early and you execute what we talked about in this video today and you start on your path to being a consistent, high-level student. Yes? And if you are going to do that, if you are ready to step up for yourself, I want you guys, right? This is all about being an independent learner. I want you to put in the box, quote my son, and say independent learner. Put in the comment box, independent learner, so I know you've heard this message and you recognize the goal is to become that independent learner. And it's to have the belief that you are the independent learner, have the confidence in yourself to say, listen, I can do this. I am greatness, right? People used to trip, right? You guys see, I got no excuses dominate on here, but I have all these shirts. And one of them says is greatness is here. People are like, greatness is here. I said, yes, because I want you to know it. Because I'm every day, single of the day, I'm thinking when I walk in a room, what is that? Oh, greatness just arrived. It's me, baby. That's the thought process and the confidence you have to be your best. Whatever that means to you, you have to have that kind of belief, guys. So I thank you guys for hanging out with me. This is your first time with me. I'm live on here. It's Mondays and Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Today a little later because I was running late, but 4 p.m. will be live action, bringing you guys actionable things to help you get better. Take a second. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on live notifications so you know, oh dang, Dr. Pinesett's live. You don't miss us getting after it. If you're ready, level up. Get into my coaching programs. It's right there, premedproductivity.com. Get hooked up and get to your greatness. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you next week. How do we always end? No excuses, just dominate, guys. See you next time.
That's it for another episode of the Premed Productivity Podcast. Show your love by smashing the like button and commenting in the box below. Today is the day, guys. No more excuses, no more complaining. You're going to take your future into your own hands. You're going to dominate. You're going to be successful. I challenge you. What are you going to do today to make your life better? Get to my website, premedproductivity.com. Grab a free ebook, sign up for a free webinar, and if you're really ready to transform, enroll in one of my life-changing courses or coaching programs. You have greatness inside you. Let me show you how to unlock it so you can dominate and make your dreams a reality. No excuses, just dominate.